Hey, welcome to the Huntsville Hustle podcast. I'm your host, Joe Martin. We're going to tell you about stories of grit, growth, and greatness right here in the Rocket City. And today we get Lauren Marsh. She's the president, co-founder, and general contractor at Ridgeline Construction Roofing and Exteriors. And she's a kind of a trailblazer in the construction and roofing industry. And I'm excited to learn more about her. Lauren, thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be a guest today.
Absolutely. So we'll take it way back. So, you started in 2012 with your husband, Terry, started this business. What kind of sparked the idea to start this business?
At the time, there was just kind of a hole in the marketplace of dependable roofers, and both of us have a background in the residential building industry. And, so just understanding that and knowing that there was that gap in the marketplace, we just saw an opportunity to, try something new and try to insert some value into something that was, really lacking at the time.
Oh, yeah, man, reliable roof. You want a reliable roofer. Okay.
Yes.
You don't want to just trust that to anybody. So I saw y'all jumped in that space, and people, there's you've seen it that they just slap a magnet on their truck, and all of a sudden they're a roofer.
Right.
That's not how you guys do things. So you guys do both residential as well as commercial. Have you found it hard to kind of figure out the marketing message to keep those separate?
It's really interesting because they both kind of have their own nuances and niches. And so, we're always kind of seeking to compartmentalize them to a certain degree so that they have their own life and their own processes and their own message, but it still is under the broader umbrella of, our overall message as Ridgeline Construction. So we've really worked hard to hone in our processes on both sides to accommodate our customers and their needs because they are very different. So we also feel lucky and blessed to be able to offer both. And it's just been fun and exciting. We really, really put a huge emphasis on our commercial side here more recently, just to grow that out because of the areas that we serve. That's just a huge part of the market right now. So we're excited to be a part of that.
For both of those, do they follow kind of the same seasons with a busy season, or do they match up for those?
For the most part, they do, but also we have kind of seasons when it comes to the commercial side of like bidding and doing a lot of bidding, and then we have seasons of executing the jobs, and they're always kind of working interchangeably, but we've kind of noticed like this influx around the first of the year. It's a lot of bidding and contracts being written up, and then when it comes to the commercial side of things, and doing those jobs throughout the year. And then when it comes to the residential side, I would say it's definitely tied to holidays. We joke that normally around Christmas, and I surely would not want somebody to come do construction on my house during Christmas either. So a lot of the times around holidays and things like that, we do expect to slow down. But that's kind of been the cool thing is kind of see the ebb and flow of both sides of that and how they can kind of, work together. And it just works out really well that a lot of the times when our residential is a little bit slower, the commercial side is ramped up a little bit more and vice versa. So we feel really lucky and blessed to be a part of both and enjoy both sides of that business.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, one feeds into the other. When one was
Yeah.
kind of slacking, that's good. So
Yes.
you're kind of a rare bird, one of those lifelong North Alabama residents.
Yes.
There's a few of us out there, so you're one of those. So what makes this such a good area for your business?
Of course, I'm very partial to the area. Being born and raised here, I just love it, and I feel such a sense of pride to be from the Huntsville area. And I just think it's so cool the impact that we've been able to have on our country as a whole. So I think to be a part of this community is a huge blessing. But it's been exciting to, go from watching this area to be farmlands to, I mean, nothing but everywhere you look, there's new infrastructure going up and what that offers to, our new community members as well as old community members that have been here for a long time. So I have such a sense of pride of being a part of a community that I grew up in.
That's it. And there's a lot of places that need roofs, so you're in
Yes,
the right place.
yes.
You mentioned a few things. What else kind of sets you apart? It's a very competitive industry. What sets you guys apart?
It is. We've really worked to make sure that our processes are very customer centric. I think that we've all experienced that salesy process where, you've talked to one person and then once they've taken your money, they've kind of forgotten about you and you get put on the back burner until they get back around to you. And I think that it's been our experience, that has really driven that desire to kind of change the construction industry as a whole. As a roofing company, traditionally roofers do not always have the best name. There's sometimes a negative connotation, and we're always fighting that. But our processes are not as conventional as most roofing companies because we really want to build relationships And that's what our focus is on. And so, we tell our staff that it's not always an easy process, but we do feel like it's worthwhile to just offer a product in a different, hopefully more refreshing way than others around us, and maybe, the negative experiences people have had in the past.
Absolutely. They're out there. Just if you go
Yes.
look for them, they're it's a bad experience with some roofing companies.
Yes.
So, I mean, it's a great place to do business, but it could always do better. What would you suggest kind of makes it a better business environment in Huntsville?
You know, Huntsville has the advantage of the fact that we also do business in Florida. And while business in Florida is great, it is very complicated. So it kind of really makes this area look, a lot more appealing from a business standpoint. But, I think, just seeing some of the larger industries coming into this area and the incentives that they get, as a larger business, a lot of times these larger businesses are, sending out bids for cities and towns, to kind of pull their business there. They kind of are pinning those towns against each other, and that can't be done on a small business scale. However, I do think that there could be some incentives for businesses, that are growing in certain areas and choose to continue to grow in certain areas, and maybe tax credits for small businesses and for longevity, and just for providing jobs for the local area. While we are a very small market share, I think that it would be great to have some of those, maybe a smaller scale of the incentives that some of the larger industries get, the larger manufacturing businesses get, in this area.
That's right, man. If you don't know many small business owners, it's rough out here. It's
Yeah,
not easy out here. Give us beef tax credits. We can use some out here.
that's
Man, my
right.
first year paying taxes, whew, that was a rough one. That
Yeah,
was a rough one. Yeah,
it
we need
is.
a little help out here for sure.
Yes.
We mentioned some of that. Taxes are always a pain point. What's kind of your biggest pain point as a business owner right now?
I think as a business owner overall, the hiring process and retaining good employees and just labor, all of that I think has been a huge challenge just for the business community on a broader scale. When it comes more to construction, we are always very tied to the regulations that are set forth. And while they are very necessary, some can be somewhat overzealous and make things a little difficult, So I think that it's some of the, regulatory things that is a huge challenge in the construction industry and more so in the roofing industry.
I'm sure. And I see why they got them. I know why they have them. But
Yeah,
man,
it's
it's
important.
some of that red tape. Yeah. But some of
Yeah,
that red tape is pretty tough.
it is. And sometimes you think, is this really necessary? Definitely the safety stuff is always 100% necessary, but there's just some other things that, could be kind of tweaked a little bit to make things just a little more feasible for small business owners and for those of us who really want to make an impact in the construction industry.
Absolutely. So you guys have had a lot of success. You've had multiple locations. You've had national recognition. Was there kind of a moment along the way where you're like, hey, I think we've made it?
You know, um, I laugh because I always tell our staff that we never rest on our laurels. My husband and business partner Terry and I, we just never feel like, oh, yes, today's the day that we've made it. We're always thankful for the milestones that we hit, but we both are always seeking to take it to the next level. So I don't think there's really a time that I can say, oh, wow, we made it. But I will say that there are a few things that, that we've been able to achieve that it felt like, okay, we worked really hard for this and we're going to appreciate this, just for a minute. But then tomorrow we're going to go move on to the next thing and try to grow and, just better ourselves. We both have the philosophy of being better than the person we were yesterday. And we carry that into our business as well. So,
Hey, that's that success mindset. Hey,
hmm
it's never enough. We got
never
to keep
enough.
rolling,
That's right.
going from good to great. That's it.
That's
So,
right.
I mean, but also on the other side, there's always tough times. You show them all those regulations, talking about all that red tape. That'd probably be when I was out. But was there a moment where you were thinking, I don't think we can do this?
I think that we run into little times of that just, probably on a weekly basis, just because the construction industry is so fast, somewhat volatile, and, you have to really be able to be flexible. But the philosophy that we've always had is if we can't fix it or do this today, let's grow in an organic way to get us to where we can say yes. There's been times that because of the regulations, we've had to say no to jobs, and that's disappointing. And so what we try to do in those situations is even if we had to say no in that moment, we try to assess, well, is this something that, you know, could be long term, an opportunity for us, and what can we do to be able to capitalize on that opportunity, whether it be licensing or sometimes it's as easy as education for our staff, and processes or new products, but yeah, I think that the business industry for entrepreneurs, it's tough, and we're just always putting out fires and trying to problem solve and come up with solutions, and shepherd our flock of employees as well as vendors and those that depend on us and have come to depend on us. And I think that that's a huge motivation for us, is just knowing that there are people that depend on us and that it's important.
Yeah, that'll keep you going for sure. So
Yeah.
you're clearly a very, very process oriented type of person. You're about efficiency. You have to be, right? So do you use apps or technology that helps you kind of get that organized?
Yeah. So I love this question because, I think that it can be easy to be resistant to technology and change. And, we always kind of laugh anytime we introduce something new. We have to overcome that fear of change mentality, that kind of covers all of it. And we are that way ourselves at times, but we have come to understand that technology is super helpful. So, of course, utilizing AI, I think that if you're not using AI, as a business owner in some form or fashion, whether it's through marketing or helping to build your processes, then, you're kind of spinning your wheels, because that's been a huge help just for just helping me to take my processes, put it through AI, and like, can it be any better? And I've been surprised at what it's been able to, generate and spit out. And then, of course, having a good CRM in the construction industry and just a good way to organize our customer base and keep our schedule organized. So we just actually went through a big change with our CRM last year, and that's never easy. But I tend to be a control freak, so I tend to throw myself into it and try to learn as much as I can about it so that I can help my team feel confident with it. Because I think a lot of the times when we're looking to change, especially when it comes to the technology that we use, I think it's just the fear of the unknown. So as a business owner, I have to be the first one to kind of leap into the unknown and learn it for myself, and show my team that, like, hey, this is new, but we can figure it out. And now that we've made those changes, it has been super helpful for our efficiency and just having a broader picture of every aspect of our business at all times. That's what we're always seeking to do. We have hundreds of jobs per year, so having a really good CRM system to be able to dig into those at any point in time is huge, especially for the construction industry.
That sounds like a nightmare switching over to CRM. So, oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
I know it's better now, but man,
Yeah.
that process was going to be painful right there.
It is painful. And, you just have to rip it off like a Band-Aid and say, you know what, we're just going for it. And you also kind of have to take you have to take the old application away. You have to kind of just be like, I'm turning all of your usernames off on this old one, including myself, and eventually had to do that too to make it a little bit harder. You have to keep that old stuff just in case you need it, but you do have to kind of pave that way by, removing the access to the old thing that we're comfortable with and forcing the access into the new thing that we're not as comfortable with. But yeah, it's tough, but I love that everybody is settled into it now, and they're always like, wow, this is so much better. So
It's always better on the other side, but man, that
it is.
path getting there is rough. So, I mean,
Yes.
you're a leader, you're a business owner, you're a mom of four. Any one of those could be tough to do. So I know you're good at time management and all that good stuff. So, do you have any habits or routine that have helped you become successful?
A long time ago, I developed a morning habit, and sometimes my husband's like, if I'm running a little late or whatever, he's like, you don't have to do your morning routine. And I'm like, yeah, actually, I do. I can't. Like, it's just become methodical and ritualistic for me to kind of just prepare my mind for the day, because I know the minute that I look at my email, or, when we get in that car to go to car line, there's a lot of outside influences that are dictating which direction you're looking into. So, I really like to get up in the mornings, and I'm not a coffee drinker, which is kind of shocking to so many, but I do like my energy drinks, just have some quiet time. I do like to do, a little devotional, and just have a quiet moment to myself before the day gets kind of crazy, and I'm trying to also apply kind of that same logic to the afternoon, because I feel like, as a mom and as parents, that afternoon time can just get away from you. And so, trying to hit that reset button in the afternoon again, once everybody's home from school and work and we've got to get dinner on the table, how can we hit that reset button to focus, to be efficient through the rest of the evening and be able to kind of relax for a few minutes before winding down for bed. So, I lament sometimes that, as a mom with 4 kids and businesses, and you can kind of feel like you're not doing 100% in each area, and there's no way to do 100% in each area. So I've just really tried to learn to be thankful for what I am able to accomplish on a daily basis and celebrate that. And just know that the things that are waiting for me tomorrow can wait till tomorrow, and it's going to be okay.
Man,
Even if I
yeah,
forgot
that's
to
awesome.
order my kids' contacts when he told me to, there are things like that that happen, and we have to have grace, but we also have to celebrate the things that we did accomplish.
Yeah, that's a lot of moving parts to keep up with. So some's going to
Yes,
get dropped. You're juggling all that. But
yes,
one of the balls is going to get dropped here and there.
that's
It's all
right.
right. We're gonna
Yes,
be okay here. You
yes,
can still see. You'll be all right.
that's right.
You can see. You kind of see anyway.
You
So,
can kind of
uh,
see, just squint.
yeah, that was really good advice right there. What's some of the best advice you've ever been given?
So I grew up dancing at a studio that's been in Madison for a long time. So, I always joke that being a roofer was definitely not my dream as a little girl. It was to own a dance studio, but I took a lot of business just influence from the owners of that studio. It's called the Dance Company in Madison. Probably a lot of people know it. But they are very savvy in their business model. They work very well together as a team, and I think that I was able to see that partnership and infuse that into the partnership that I have with my husband, because partnerships can be super hard, and so they really had their lanes that they kind of took care of. And that's kind of what we've adopted. The other thing, and they point blank told me, you don't ever want to skimp on your legal team and your accounting team and your insurance. And what that really taught me on a broader scale is that you have to, in order to give a quality product, you have to have a quality foundation. And you're not going to have a quality foundation if you don't have professionals that you can turn to and depend on when it comes to business decisions, and just helping to make sure that your business is well taken care of, and the ecosystem of your business is well cared for. And so I really carried that over because it had a broader meaning to me. Like, you need to be able to have people that you trust, in order, because you can't control everything in your business. You can't control everything. And then the other thing that I always admired about them is, especially in the dance industry, I would say borderline exploitation at times, of kids, and putting them on the stage, and maybe things that they shouldn't be wearing. And so they always stayed really true to their ethics and who they were and who their core values were, and not getting caught up in maybe what the mainstream was doing in order to win awards and win competitions. They always stayed true to who they were. And so that's something that I really try to do as well. The roofing industry has seen a lot of changes, and it can be easy to look around and be like, am I going to get lost if I don't adopt some of these things that other people are doing? But then I think, you know what? No, because we're not trying to be like everybody else. We're trying to set ourselves apart. And so I think that it's super important in business and just in life in general to stay true to who you are, your ethics, your values, and never sacrifice those no matter what. So that's probably the most important thing that I've learned, and the most important business, not necessarily advice, but just examples that I've been able to follow. And I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah, that's perfect right there. Man, that's a business owner. You are kind of tap dancing through all the chaos every day. So
Yeah,
maybe that was good
that's
training.
true. So it really helped me. I didn't know that was going to help my future.
You never know. Yeah, so
Yeah,
you were specially trained for this. So.
that's right.
Ridgeline is you're a very family focused business. Why was that so important for you to create that?
It was kind of organic the way that it worked out. When we started this business, again, I didn't necessarily have, intentions of jumping into it in the way that I did, but the need was there. And, I was staying at home with kids, when we initially decided to start doing this, and I was going to help where I could. But what I quickly realized is, back to that being a control freak, I really needed to be involved in it more than I thought. But what I've been able to understand from that is, you know, family takes care of each other, and we know that we can trust each other. We have 4 kids, 2 of which are interested in the business. And so, being able to leave a legacy behind for them to possibly take over one day is huge for us. We love working with our family. I have several family members that work for us, and it just makes for a great team environment. We're thankful for the family that we have, but we're thankful for the non family members that we have working for us. And I think that it makes such a cohesive team. But if you have kids and you think that they're interested in your business, and it gives you that extra motivation to make sure that like this is still going to be here as a legacy for them to take over one day. And our daughter works with us as well, and she's learning many different aspects of the business. I've kind of put her through a little bit of a boot camp where she's kind of worked through each position in our offices to really understand it. So it's been really fun to see her grow within it. We've had the opportunity to watch employees grow within our business, and that's been such a huge blessing to us. Just to be able to see people start their lives, get married, have kids, buy a house, do all of those exciting things. And, so we really focus on family because we think that it's so important. And we love to see that evolution within our employees.
Oh, that's so cool. And I think it shows off on the other end too. I think it
Yeah,
shows off on the
we
end
hope so.
product side. Now, if there was a company or a person that you could connect with in the Huntsville or surrounding areas that could really help you kind of go to the next level, is there someone that you'd have in mind?
You know, I feel like we're super lucky and blessed to have made the connections that, I would definitely say, some of our bigger developers in the area were connections that we wanted to make, and we have been able to do that, which has been a huge blessing. But, there's general contractors in the area that would be super helpful to establish relationships with, and we're always seeking to do that. We try to allow that to be in an organic way because we definitely want to be able to add value when it comes to business. So we want to be able to prove our value and prove our worth. And we know that that's through just doing a good job and hoping that that those doors will be open and those relationship connections will be made as needed. And luckily, we've always been able to do that. So I'd just say, the general contractors in the area, as well as those that are coming into the area, to help build our infrastructure, those are the connections that are meaningful for our business right now.
There you go. If you're a general contractor, reach out to them. You want a reputable, amazing, awesome, award-winning company, Ridgeline,
Yeah.
hook them up. Yeah, you can contact
Yep.
Lauren. She'll help you out.
That's right.
So if someone came to you and said, "I'm thinking about starting a small business," what was some advice you give them on starting a business?
My biggest advice, I'm a very stubborn person. So, I laugh. I say that laughingly because stubbornness can oftentimes be seen as a negative thing. But stubbornness is, I think, very important when it comes to business because you are going to hear the word no. You are going to be met with challenges that feel like, are very hard to overcome. And you have to be stubborn in a way that gives you the tenacity to overcome those challenges. You have to be willing to do the work in all areas of your business. I may not necessarily do all the work. Obviously I can't. But would I be willing to answer the phone at the office if I had to? Of course. And that willingness and that humbleness to say, you know what, if something happened today and I had to jump into this area of my business, I am not too good to do it. I'm not above doing anything. I think that it's super important as a leader and as a business owner to show the willingness to do any area and any aspect of the job that is required. And again, not resting on your laurels. I think that complacency is the enemy for business owners and for success. So always seeking to learn more, better yourself, whether that's through reading books, going to seminars, looking at where your weaknesses are and finding the resources to strengthen those, whether that's through people, again, seminars, books, whatever that may be. But just don't be blind to your weaknesses and strengths because turning a blind eye to those could be hugely detrimental to your long-term goals. Yeah. Yeah.
Hear it a lot, but
Yeah.
you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Dust
That's
on
right.
them. Yeah,
That's right.
you're gonna be
Just got to
okay.
get back up and
And
keep
yeah,
going.
that's it. And never stop learning. I think too many people get stuck and kind of, hey, I'm pretty good at this, I'm gonna quit learning. But I know in the roofing, there's always new products and things coming out. If you're not up on them, then you're kind of going to get left behind. So that's most industries are like that too. So that's some great advice right there. So I know people
Right.
have been very impressed with you so far. So how do they follow Ridgeline and keep up with what you guys are doing?
So we really heavily invest in our social media presence. So you can find us on, Facebook, Instagram, all the social media platforms. We do have a website. It's Ridgeline Construction, HSB, like short for Huntsville.com. We actually just recently updated our website. We're super excited about that. So We'd love for you guys to check it out and let us know what you think of the new look. We're also active in the community. We're active members of our chambers, home builders associations, and so we just try to get out there and, be as active as we can and meet as many new people as we can. But you can always find us there, on the internet, and social media and website. Easiest place to find us.
Absolutely. And we'll link all that stuff in show notes. So you can just click on things. If you're not a good speller
Yeah.
like me, we'll just have you can click on it right there. Lauren, thanks for coming on and sharing your story and what's made you a success. So it's been really interesting.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Hey, if you're listening right now, please share this episode. Please share Lauren's story about how she's tap danced her way to success and what the cool things that Ridgeline's doing out there. And maybe show it, and maybe they find a general contractor she can work with and both level up together. That's what this show is all about. So appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you guys next week on the Huntsville Hustle podcast.